All right, so are you ready to hit the trails? Because today, we are diving deep into the world of adventure
Oh,
motorcycles.
yeah.
You shared this awesome video with us from Architect on Wheels,
Yeah.
and it's really cool. This guy is clearly super passionate about these bikes. He even filmed this thing late at night around 10:30 p.m.
Oh, wow.
But you can still feel his excitement. You know what I mean?
It's great how he just keeps it real. There's no fancy studio or anything.
Yeah.
He's just sharing his experience, and that's what makes this deep dive so valuable.
Absolutely. So let's unpack why these adventure bikes are becoming so popular.
Yeah.
He breaks it down into three main benefits: convenience, comfort, and performance. But he doesn't just list them. He gets into the nitty-gritty.
Right.
So let's start with convenience. What do you think?
Well, this is where it gets interesting. You, you might think adventure bikes, those are just for off-roading, right?
Right. Yeah.
But he actually focuses on how convenient they are for everyday riding.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm intrigued what makes them so convenient for, say, getting around town.
Well, he really dives into their ability to handle bad roads and potholes, without breaking a sweat.
Huh.
He even compares them to naked bikes like the Honda CB300R or a KTM Duke 390,
Oh, okay.
which would require a lot more caution on those rough surfaces.
Wait, so why is that? What makes an adventure bike, better at handling potholes? Is it just the
Yeah.
bigger tires or something?
It's more than just the tires. I mean, think about suspension travel.
Oh, okay.
Adventure bikes have way more of it.
Okay.
So it allows those wheels to move up and down, freely without jarring the rider.
I see.
And then there's the riding position. You're
Mhm.
sitting more upright on an adventure bike, which gives you better control and a more comfortable posture when you hit those bumps.
So it's like a combination of design features all working together to make the ride smoother.
Exactly. And when you think about the condition of some city streets,
Yeah.
that can make a huge difference in your daily commute. He even demonstrates it in the video, riding over some pretty rough patches with ease.
Oh, that's cool. That makes a lot of sense. Now let's move on to comfort.
Okay.
He makes a clear distinction between convenience and comfort, arguing that they're not always a package deal.
He even tells this funny story about a friend
Oh,
who also owned a Dominar, but found the adventure bike too comfortable.
really?
Apparently, the friend preferred a more engaged riding position,
Okay.
meaning he wanted to feel more connected to the bike.
So even within the world of adventure bikes, there's a spectrum of comfort levels.
Absolutely, what's comfortable for one rider might not be for another.
Yeah.
But for this guy, switching to an adventure bike in his 30s was all about finding a more comfortable ride, especially for longer distances.
Okay.
He talks about struggling with fatigue, backaches, and wrist pain on his previous bike.
So he's not just talking about plush seats here. It's about ergonomics and how the whole bike is designed to minimize strain on your body during long rides.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what makes adventure bikes so appealing for touring and long-distance travel.
Right.
They're built for comfort over hundreds of miles.
So we've got convenience for everyday riding and comfort for those longer hauls. What about performance?
Now, he does acknowledge that adventure bikes aren't meant to be like track day demons,
Hmm. Yeah.
or high-performance sport bikes.
Right. But he makes a pretty strong argument that they offer plenty of power for most riders,
Yeah.
especially those who are new to motorcycles or at an intermediate level.
He even gives some specific examples from his own experience.
Oh, cool.
He says he comfortably cruises at 120 to 130 kilometers per hour on the highway
Oh, okay.
and feels like the bike is responsive and fun to ride.
He mentions the KTM 390 Adventure,
Yeah.
which is a pretty popular model as a point of comparison, right? Does he talk about the specifics of what makes these bikes perform well?
He doesn't go too deep into the technical specs,
Okay.
but he emphasizes that adventure bikes have enough power to handle most riding situations.
Got it.
He even hints at a possible difference in riding style compared to sport bikes.
Now that you mention it, I am curious about the type of power delivery you get with an adventure bike.
Okay.
Is it all about top speed, or is there something else going on?
That's a great question, and it brings up a really important point about adventure bikes and performance. It's not just about raw horsepower with these adventure bikes. It's about usable power throughout the entire rev range.
Okay.
They're designed to have a good spread of torque,
Huh?
meaning they pull strongly from low RPMs.
Ah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's less about screaming at high revs and more about having that grunt available when you need it, especially off-road.
Exactly. Think about navigating a tricky uphill section or powering through loose terrain.
Yeah.
You need that low-end torque to maintain control and momentum.
That's a really good point. It seems like adventure bikes are like designed for a different kind of riding experience altogether.
Absolutely. And this leads to another key point he brings up.
Okay.
The sheer variety of adventure bikes available. He mentions several models,
Right.
highlighting the fact that there's an adventure bike out there for pretty much every rider and budget.
I remember him talking about the KTM 390 Adventure, which he says comes in both road and off-road variants. That's pretty cool. What other bikes did he mention? He also mentioned some more accessible options, right?
He specifically highlights the Suzuki V-Strom SX250 and the Honda Hornet 2.0, both in that 200cc category.
Right.
These are great entry-level bikes for riders who want to dip their toes into the adventure world without breaking the bank.
And so there's a whole spectrum of choices from beginner-friendly bikes to high-performance machines. That's pretty impressive.
And this variety is part of what makes the adventure bike segment so exciting.
Yeah.
There's something for everyone, whether you're a seasoned off-roader or a brand new rider looking for adventure.
It's interesting that he focuses so much on the practical benefits of these bikes.
Right.
The convenience, the comfort, the performance. But as we often discuss on the deep dive, there's more to the story than just the facts and figures, right?
Absolutely. And I think it's worth considering what he didn't explicitly say in the video, what's implied between the lines.
Okay, I'm all ears. What are we missing?
Well, he touches on the practical aspects. But what about the emotional appeal of adventure bikes? The sense of freedom, the spirit of exploration, the allure of going beyond paved roads. Those are powerful motivators.
You're right. You can practically hear the wind in his hair and see the open roads stretching before him as he talks about his rides.
Exactly. And while he doesn't delve into those emotions directly,
Yeah.
they're palpable in his enthusiasm. It's infectious.
This makes me think about how, for a lot of people, motorcycling is more than just transportation.
Right.
It's a way of life, a form of self-expression.
I think that's especially true with adventure bikes. They represent a certain kind of spirit, a desire to break free from the ordinary and explore the world on your own terms.
So it's not just about the specs on a sheet. It's about finding a bike that resonates with your soul, with your sense of adventure.
Exactly, and that's something I encourage you to reflect on as you continue your journey into the world of adventure bikes.
Okay.
What speaks to your sense of adventure? What kind of riding experience are you seeking?
Those are really good questions. It makes me wonder if part of the appeal of adventure bikes is that they offer a kind of blank canvas for exploration.
I think you're onto something there.
Yeah.
It's the idea that you can take these bikes anywhere from city streets to mountain trails and create your own adventures along the way.
And with so many different models to choose from, you can tailor the experience to fit your individual needs and preferences.
Exactly. Whether you're dreaming of crossing continents or simply exploring the back roads in your own backyard, there's an adventure bike out there waiting to be your companion.
So we've explored the practical benefits of adventure bikes.
Right.
Their convenience for navigating everyday life, their comfort for longer rides, and their surprising performance capabilities.
But we've also uncovered a deeper layer to this story.
Yeah.
The emotional appeal, the sense of freedom and exploration that these bikes embody.
And that brings us to the most important question of all. What does adventure mean to you?
Because ultimately, the best adventure bike is the one that aligns with your personal definition of adventure.
That's such a great way to put it. So as you delve deeper into this world, consider what kind of adventure you're seeking.
Do you envision yourself conquering challenging terrain, exploring remote corners of the world, or simply enjoying the open road with a sense of freedom?
Whatever your vision may be, I encourage you to embrace the spirit of adventure and see where it takes you.
And who knows? Maybe an adventure bike is the key to unlocking a whole new world of possibilities.
All right, before we wrap up this deep dive, I have one more question for you. We've talked a lot about the rider in the video and his experiences, but what about you? What stood out to you from this deep dive?
That's a great question. I think what fascinates me is how this seemingly niche category of motorcycles adventure bikes has managed to capture the imaginations of so many different types of riders.
You're right. We've got folks looking for a comfortable commuter, long-distance tours, and even off-road enthusiasts all gravitating towards adventure bikes.
And it's not just about the practicality. There's this undeniable emotional pull, this sense of adventure that transcends the physical capabilities of the bikes themselves.
I'm starting to think that's the real magic of adventure bikes. They tap into something deeper, a yearning for exploration and freedom that resonates with people on a personal level.
It's almost as if they represent a rejection of the mundane, a way to break free from the routine and embrace the unknown.
And in a world that can often feel predictable and constrained, that's a really powerful message.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that adventure's out there waiting for us, whether it's on a mountain trail or simply discovering a new hidden gem in our own city.
So as you continue your journey into the world of adventure bikes, I encourage you to keep that sense of wonder alive.
Don't get bogged down by the specs and the technical details. Instead, focus on what truly excites you about these bikes.
Is it the image of conquering challenging terrain, the thrill of riding off the beaten path, or maybe it's the simple joy of experiencing the open road with a sense of freedom and possibility?
Whatever it is, let that be your guide as you explore the amazing world of adventure motorcycles.
And remember, the greatest adventure is the one that's waiting to be discovered.
So keep exploring, keep riding, and until next time, happy adventures.
Happy adventures.